Please rise and join us for the national anthem. welcome. It's dry in here. I noticed a couple more people coming in from outdoors. Probably we didn't know that we would move the concert indoors if it rained. Marching bands can play outdoors, but orchestras can't. It's not really good to play in the rain for especially violins and cellos, but string basses don't do real well either. So we'd like to welcome you to the wonderful outdoor performance in the beautiful amphitheater here in Colerain Township that has been moved into the Senior Center. If you haven't guessed, we're playing music tonight from America's wonderful gift to music, or music from Hollywood. We have opened with the music from Mary Poppins. 50 years ago, Mary Poppins first opened in the theaters. 50 years. A little later on the program, we're going to do music from The Wizard of Oz. We're celebrating its 75th anniversary. And for those of you that didn't know it, we celebrated another anniversary as you rose for our national anthem. It is the 200th anniversary of Francis Scott Key writing the poem, The Defense of Fort McHenry, from which our anthem is taken, 200 years ago during the War of 1812. So a lot of anniversaries tonight. If we're going to look at movie music, I think it's always best to look at one of the great overlooked scores from the American film, and that would, without any doubt, be the music from Dances with Wolves. It's a movie that I won't say that it completely failed. There was quite a following when it first came out, but it wasn't because of the movie that people went. It was because of the unbelievable scenery. At one point, every living American bison, buffalo as we tend to call them, had been gathered together and placed in the shot with the Rocky Mountains in the background. You see, that was before they could digitally add buffalo in there with the stroke of a clicker on the computer. It's an amazing film, and this music just brings back the sense of the vastness and the glory of America. It is probably one of the greatest music scores ever written. I'll tell you something really funny that's true. We knew the music was going to be available, and the chairman of the orchestra scored then, and the artistic director and myself and 2 or 3 other musicians, we went to the theater to listen to the music while we watched the film. And we came out, and we were standing in the lobby discussing the fact that we couldn't remember any of the music because we were so overwhelmed by the film and how perfectly the music sat behind it. And the manager of the theater heard us talking and said, "Why don't you go in and watch it again, but this time sit in the back row and look at the floor so you can hear the music." He said, "I've already done that, and the music is amazing." Well, the music's only grown over the years. We give you Dances with Wolves. How many of you have been at one of the earlier concerts this summer? Just a few hands. We performed the music at the first three concerts from Frozen and an addition that was done for string orchestra. I must say it was a little bit disappointing, but it was still the great music from Frozen. And I got a call about 4 weeks ago from the president of Lux Music in Dearborn Hills, Michigan, our main publisher we work with, who told me that a full orchestration was coming out. He asked if the orchestra could literally front the money to have a copy expressed to us so we might still perform it this summer. And sight unseen, we purchased this arrangement we're going to play tonight for the first time. I must tell you, when I opened the package, the smell of fresh printer's ink was overwhelming coming out of that envelope. When he said freshly printed, it couldn't have been more than a day or two before. This arrangement was done by Bob Kornstadt, who was a close friend of Bob Lopez, the composer, and his lovely wife, the librettist on this. This probably will go down as the most amazing movie music of this century. And I know we're only 14 years in, but it's going to be hard to go past this. For those of you that aren't aware, this score won all 5 of the awards for music. The last time that happened was in the 1930s. And it's the first time Mr. and Mrs. Lopez have won any of the awards, so it's probably the only time that will ever happen. I must say that Disney Studios did not want this arrangement to come out. There was a threatened lawsuit, and I must say also that it's to Disney's credit that they decided such great music as this, the composers should have the right to do their own arrangement with their own arranger so that you could hear the music as they wanted it performed. This is a fantastic arrangement. It also has the little section in it of the, how many of you have seen the film Frozen? Quite a few hands. Well, there's a little talking snowman in the film that has as his goal in life to sit on the beach and soak in the sun. And he doesn't quite understand that when he does that, he's going to melt away. He's not really too bright, but having never met a talking snowman, I can't imagine they would be really very bright. But his little bit of music, sort of dreaming about laying in the sun, is really one of those cute moving moments. So please enjoy. To the best of my knowledge, this is the second American performance of this music. So you're not hearing the premiere, but we're real close. We give you the new full orchestra arrangement of Frozen. Okay, how many Harry Potter fans do we have out here? Oh, yeah. Young, old, in between. I gotta tell you, I guess I'm just not into magic enough. I have a rough time understanding the whole thing. This music, though, is really neat. Most of you know that John Williams wrote the score to Harry Potter, but he didn't really write the score to Harry Potter. He wrote the first 4 movies. Yes, count them 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then the last 3, the last one of which is in 2 parts, he passed off to younger composers. I guess John just didn't have the energy anymore to write any more Harry Potter music. I guess none of us expected to see a complete set of the music in one arrangement because, like most great composers, John Williams just doesn't like the idea of mixing his music up with somebody else's. And all of a sudden, here it was available. Now, it helped a little that a couple of the younger composers involved were friends and students of John's. It helped a little that they wrote some magnificent music which follows very much in the tradition of how John started the movies. But I must tell you that at the first rehearsal, when we got past the middle of the suite where that wonderful Harry Potter melody just faded away, and then I was conducting Alan Bobil's music, and I realized that, and I actually said it to the orchestra, folks, we're not in Kansas anymore. The music is so different. This is a chance to hear the older generation phasing themselves out as the newer generation of composers are coming to the fore. It's an amazing suite of music. If there's not something in this that you like, you don't like music because there's so many different things in it that it's just quite wonderful. Now, the orchestra doesn't know this is going to happen, but I've been having a little trouble conducting this, so I got some help. I now have my own wizardly wand, so with this, maybe I'll do my part a little better.
Just don't let that thing fly.
It's actually got little ridges in it, so it's good. see how much having the right instrument helps. How many of you have been to Disney World and gone on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride? This is the music you hear. Now, if I'd had any sense when I programmed the concert, we'd be taking intermission right now, because no conductor in his right mind would do Pirates of the Caribbean after going through Harry Potter. But sometimes, it's just like, well, that's what the audience should hear. Whether we make it through or not is another matter. I want to tell you something. The last two numbers you've heard, obviously Frozen, we've only had for a week, and we did it on one special rehearsal. But that amazing suite of the music from Harry Potter is also new at the beginning of summer. It's amazing that a group of volunteer musicians like this can play music at that unbelievable level of difficulty. Music that's intended for the Boston Pops or the Cincinnati Pops with this amazing, amazing clarity. And they give this to you, free concerts. We've been doing this for 85 years now, and it's just a joy to work with these musicians. Now, Pirates, we've been playing for about, 8, 9 seasons since it came out? So, not every year, thank heavens, but they sort of go on autopilot now, and then I follow along. give us 10 minutes to get back in tune, and we'll be back with you with Titanic. Thank you. We're going to begin the second half with the wonderful music from Titanic. One of the things that's often lost when you're watching this movie and hearing this music is there's so much sound effects. They're really not sound effects, it's the sound of the boat. You know, the boat makes a lot of noise. You don't get something that big to move without a lot of, things moving around to turn the propellers and burning the coal and all the things that happen. And when you play just the music, you have the same sense of this magnificent boat moving, but without the sound effects, just the sound of the music moving forward. And I think that probably of all the film music we're playing tonight, this is the music where you'll be able most to visualize the movie, especially the Titanic moving across the ocean, because this is such amazing music. You can almost feel like the boat's out there in the parking lot getting ready to crash through us, because once you get the thing going, I guess it just doesn't stop. But this is truly, truly amazing film music. So just sort of close your eyes and visualize that huge, magnificent ship, unfortunately going off to its doom. 75 years ago, in April, for the first time, an audience saw The Wizard of Oz. 75 years. You know, it's hard to believe we've been making great films in America for that long. But when you think that before The Wizard of Oz, which was the first one really to have color, we had all of the talkies in the black and whites, and then all of the soundless ones, those wonderful pantomime films. And then before that, even films where they had live orchestras in the theaters to accompany the films. Birth of a Nation, the original 10 Commandments. 75 years ago, The Wizard of Oz was the new kid on the block, but certainly not the beginning of the wonderful music that came to us from Hollywood. One of the things many Americans are not fully aware of is how many European composers gave up being great symphonists, writers of oratorio, even writers of opera, to come to America and write for film. Because they understood that this new world of the movies, the images on the screen, the music with it, everything that was happening, they understood that musical theater, that opera, that oratorio, that the symphony paled in comparison to what was happening in America. And they came here to be a part of it. Eric Korngold composed his first music for Rudolph Valentino and the American Silver Screen in between his symphony and his violin concerto. He just took time out as one of the great classical composers of his day to write for the movies. When you think that it was almost 30 years later when we have the music coming to us from this amazing score from The Wizard of Oz, you know just how far the movies had come and how far the music had come. Now, this is a very special arrangement. Charles Sayre is a modern arranger who took the extra time to really study how music was played back in the mid-30s when The Wizard of Oz came out. And for those of you that are a bit older in the audience, you're going to remember the big band sort of arrangements, the way that Paul Whiteman had his violins with his clarinets, and how different music was back then. There's some things here you won't hear very often today. There's a wonderful solo for the tuba and the piccolo. We don't do that today, but they did that back then. There's also some amazing, what we call very thin scoring, only one or two musicians playing. So you get the chance to really hear the orchestra at its best. Now, I know when we play the music from The Wizard of Oz, some of these songs, you just can't help but sing along. So that's okay. Just try and sing in tune, okay? we're going to play the next two pieces of music together. Just a brief pause between them so we can turn the pages. First, Ernest Gold's amazing music from Exodus in the arrangement that probably the greatest orchestrator of all times, Robert Russell Bennett, did for the Boston Pops. Written now just almost 40 years ago. And then we're going to do the music from The Prince of Egypt, a very contemporary piece of film, but a piece of film also about the Holy Land. It's hard sometimes for an American audience to truly step into the screen and become a part of the movie. It's particularly hard when the place that you're seeing on the screen is so totally different than the world we live in. Here we have beautiful days when it rains and everything turns green, and we have snow, and we have seasons, and we have trees, and in the Holy Land they have sand, and they have more sand. And they occasionally have a couple olive trees that unless you get real close, you're not sure quite whether they're alive or dead. Now, granted, around the hotels, they have watering systems, and on the golf courses, they do manage to make the greens out of real grass, but it's a world not like our world. It's a world without seasons. It's a world without a lot of green stuff. And if you look at these two pieces of music, the same language is used to help us bring ourselves into that place that is so different from the world we live in. It's the sound of the glory of a place that is sacred to so many people of so many faiths. But it's also a sound of the glory of a place that just sort of goes on forever and is changeless. So we'll give you first the music from Exodus, and then the theme music from Prince of Egypt. Well, you can't end the concert of movie music without John Williams. Just no greater composer that America has ever made. So we're going to give you an early piece of John Williams, Jurassic Park, and then for the big ending, music from The Empire Strikes Back. Now, before we play these two pieces of music, I really want to do a couple of quick thank yous. Everybody here at Colerain Township are just a pleasure to work with. I mean, we're getting ready to set a concert up outside, and the weatherman saying, "Oops, you got a problem," and by the time I got back over here, the chairs were already up. People are just always ready to help. Everybody here is just delightful. That's the only word that comes close to saying how they are. Tawana's back in the back. She is just a pleasure to work with. But everyone here, how many of you live in the township? Lots of hands. You are lucky to have such a great staff. These people serve you well. And they make a great concert like this easier to put on because they are just such a great group of people to work with. The folks from Waycross were rolling their camera lines and all this stuff out over at the park, and it's like, uh-oh, we're going to have to move inside. Rolled it all up, put it in the truck, brought it over here, and still they're going to have us on TV. And I think in almost every aisle we had some of the little sheets they printed up with the rebroadcast dates. So, watch it again. Tell your friends about it. I hope you all have a program. Program's absolutely wonderful. It has upcoming concert dates, has a phone number to get in touch with us. I always say this, and sometimes it works. There's a lot of really nice people behind me. They can do some of the strangest things. Conductors are supposed to toss their baton off into the scratch, but I've never seen a concertmaster toss a bow out before. Those of you sitting up front. And not only did it go flying, but Dexter caught it. It's just like, what is this? Oh my heavens, I've got to see the footage on that. It's like, there it goes flying. It's like, that's in Dexter's hand. It's like, wow, we need to send it to the baseball game and catch all those foul balls. Everybody here is a volunteer. A lot of them volunteer doing other things too. These are good people. These are the kinds of people that you'd want for your next door neighbor. And it's a great privilege to conduct them. I'll be honest with you, when some of them come back to the orchestra, they haven't played for 7, 8, 10, 15, 20 years. It's pretty scary sometimes. I came back after not playing for 7 years. They put me in the back of the second violin section, and I think they wish there had been a way to put me outside the building. I sounded really bad. But we're good at being patient. So if any of you have a violin or a viola or a bassoon or maybe a flute sitting in a closet that you haven't played and you keep saying, I'm going to play again. Now I'm retired now. I'm going to take the time. I haven't played since college. I'm going to play. And then you don't, and you don't. And it's, I'm going to take a lesson first. I'm going to practice first. No, get the instrument out. Give me a call, that number in the program, and we'll get you to a rehearsal, and we will get you playing again. No matter how bad you are, I guarantee you we had people that were a lot worse at one point or another during the history of this great institution, because we've made a habit out of getting people going again. If you've got grandkids, or even kids that are spending too much time at work and you paid for all those violin lessons all those years and the instruments in your closet, drag them out. Tell them to play again. The joy of making music and giving it to a wonderful audience is like nothing you can imagine. Now, Jurassic Park is probably John Williams' greatest piece of music. It has all of the big things in it that John is known for. It has the flying things in it that he's known for, but it also has some amazingly sentimental music. It's early John Williams. but it will go down historically as probably one of his greatest scores. This is a wonderful arrangement. It's a little shorter than I'd like it to be, but it's about as good as you get for Jurassic Park. We give you the music from Jurassic Park. Imagine those dinosaurs, but not sitting next to you. I hope some of you are inspired enough by these wonderful musicians behind me that you'll mark a few of the dates in your calendar that you see there. Next regular season, not pops, but real orchestra music, as if this isn't. We're going to be devoting an entire year to music inspired by water. Doing Handel's water music, Jerome Kern's amazing music from Showboat, the first great Broadway musical. We'll be doing Ferde Groffet's music, but not the Grand Canyon Suite, which incidentally was originally called the Great Colorado River Suite, that's what he called it at least. But we're going to be doing his Mississippi Suite, much more just plain fun piece of music to listen to. You don't have to think about it so much. We'll be doing Debussy Les Mers. You'll get to hear the beautiful solo of the flutes in Batu in a boat. And we can't leave the Russians out during the course of a whole year of music about rivers, so we'll be doing Quiet Flows the Don, the Volga Boatmen, and some of their wonderful, wonderful pieces of music that so greatly capture the sense of being on or hearing the water move. Each composer does it differently. I think it's the first time we've ever attempted a whole season built around how a composer looks at something as unique as the sound of water. We'd love to have you join us. If you're not on the mailing list, there's a piece of paper in your program. You fill it out. It doesn't cost you anything. We pay for the stamp. We pay for the postcards. We send you absolutely correct information. We also send the same information to the newspapers. Sometimes isn't the same as what we send out. We've had people go to the wrong side of town for a concert because sometimes the newspapers don't proofread real good. So get on the mailing list. 2 more Pops concerts, just like this one. One up at Tylersville Road Christian Church and one at the Springfield Township Community Center at the Grove. Tell your friends. We'd love to have a wonderful audience for them too. But keep coming. My greatest fear has always been I'll turn around and we won't have an audience, and these wonderful people will spend all the time rehearsing and preparing this great music, and no one's there to hear it. So keep coming. Your smiles and your applause is what makes it worthwhile for them, for all of us. If you join me, I want to thank these great musicians one more time before we end the concert. How many Star Wars fans are out here? Some of you going to, oh yeah, you're going to do the Darth Vader march back in the back, aren't you? I can see it coming. Don't worry about them. They're completely normal when they don't hear the music.
Copies of this program are available for $20 each. Send program title along with your address and check or money order to Waycross Community Media. Attention Dub Coordinator, 2086 Waycross Road, Forest Park, Ohio 45240. Or buy securely on the web at www.waycross.tv.